Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. Just let me check something real quick. A couple of things actually. My volume. Hopefully it's not too loud. And let's see if my mic is actually alright. Registered. Yep. Okay, got it. Alright. Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Naaman with the Great Millstone Camp here in Washington, D.C. Back for another video. Alright. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh. Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakal Kwadash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. To send out salutations to the fellow Akim who are also out there on the highways and byways week in and week out. And I do numerous amounts of videos on a daily that are uploaded and are put out there and that go all over the earth via the internet and whatever other social media, well, however other way, but mainly they're out there for the edification of the hopefully elect of our people. Alright. And it's continual study because that's what we do. Alright. Here's the copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research, all of which I am doing. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. All right. To follow up on just what I said a moment ago, this is all part of because this is considered continual learning. You have to keep at it. It just happens to be more important than all those other fields of study that Esau likes to brag about. All right. Like we say, we understand that, hey, we put these videos out there and we know that some of you treat this as entertainment. And as I continually say and will say, that's on you. All right. You want to treat it as such? Hey, you're the only one that's going to suffer as a consequence. All right. So what we have here, this is from the site here, Lady Boulay. Every now and then I'll use her. Like I say, these people we use, they're good researchers and bring out important information, but you have to realize that they do not have the Holy Spirit working within them. All right. And she puts out here the fair use notice, disclaimer. But as it says in the title, Black Americans and America's Hierarchy. All right, and trust you me, it is a hierarchy. Remember, we are still under the curses. And these devils purposely do things, all right, or I should say continually do things that they think are only going to hurt us. That's their objective. All right, let's get them niggers. All right, but lately, well, guess what? They're feeling it worse off than we are. They are really worse off than a lot of us. Let's go into it. Here's the video. I am going to fast forward because and go straight to it because she's at plantation Christianity, to love one another despite No, it don't work like that. That's a whole nother lesson in and of itself. But let's go straight to the
Listen
topic.
to this video.
White people, watch this video, and I'll be right back.
He published a book called Race Tendencies and Traits of the American Negro, in which he lays out all the numbers, and then he concludes that if we simply avoided allowing black people to have any access to health care, that within 2 or 3 generations, the whole race would die out.
The Congress of the United States has not passed a universal health care bill for all Americans because they do not want black people, because they have not wanted black people to have access to health care. Now, President Obama is not popular with black people now because some of the loud voices are saying that he didn't do anything specifically for black people. Well, he passed a universal health care bill and it had not been done before. And the reason it had not been done before was because all of the people who are
Yeah, if you remember, oh man, the people that came out the woodwork were like, no, no, no. If you remember, all right, he had, oh man, the resistance. And it was for the very same reason that we're going into now. And yes, by and large, this guy didn't do anything for us. Like all of them do, they do everything for everyone else but us. Why is that? All right, and yet the bulk of our people, they praise motherfuckers like this, especially him. What's that meme I've been seeing that the two people that uh, how is it phrased? I can't remember how exactly it's phrased, but um, the greatest two people that African Americans look up to or worship, something like that. And it's like they have JC, and then they have this guy. Wow.
are decision makers in this country got on board and said the racial hierarchy to keep black people at the bottom and eventually eliminate black people was more important than universal health care for all Americans. Now just wrap your head around.
Yeah. What do you think? Planned Parenthood. Oh, excuse me. Planned Parenthood. That originated with Margaret Sanger, her racist ass, uh, going into the eugenics movement. Who do you think they had in mind when doing that? All right. Um, lumped us right in there with the mentally ill and undesirables. That's a whole nother story in and of itself. This place has a lot to answer for, I tell you. But yeah, they're doing it, and they've always done it in a sneaky, not so sneaky way, if you understand where I'm coming from. All right. Um, all the food that we eat now, the water we drink, it's, and they're not even, as far as that goes, they're not even trying to hide it now. Um, it's crazy. Like people come over here from other countries. I was just telling, well, a lot of people in our camp know this. This Norway soccer team. Um, they had their food shipped special delivery. They didn't want anything to do with American food. 'Cause everybody outside the U.S. knows this shit is poison. All right, a lot of shit that we eat is banned, around the world. Damn, let's get back to it. But yeah, all of this, the doctrines of these devils, to include eugenics and all this other shit, it's crazy, and it's all about Edomite / white supremacy. It always has been. and you find out that these people are not superior in any way. They're really inferior, and a lot of this is as a result of a huge inferiority complex, all right, that these Edomites suffer from.
around that because it's crazy. After bringing us over here against our will for 200 and something years, and then working us all for another almost 100 years to build this country, now they want us all to die out. Now, these are people who are taking the role of the supreme ruler of the universe, the God role. They think they can decide who is going to be wiped out and how they're going to be wiped out. But
Isaiah 14th chapter, Ezekiel 28th chapter, and 2nd Thessalonians 2nd chapter. Yes, these Edomites, these self-professed white people, have a God complex. It tells you in the scriptures, and therefore you know who you're dealing with. All right, by their actions. All right.
now, who's struggling with their birth rates? They are. So, anyway, let him continue.
And that would solve the race problem in America. When Teddy Roosevelt, in 1912, proposed a national health care system, people said no because black people will get it. When Franklin...
Did you hear that? So we know that at least since 1912 with Teddy Roosevelt, this has been ongoing. 114 years ago. How about that? Wow.
Roosevelt proposed a national health care system. It was the same thing. We don't want black people to get it. When Truman tried it in 47, same thing. Don't want black people to get it. We have to figure out a way to keep black people from using Medicare. And the way that they came up with was to have a 20% hole, a gap in Medicare, so that you had to pay 20% of your doctor's bill and your hospital bill, and that would discourage poor black people from showing up at the hospitals.
It was all done to keep segregation intact because with universal health care, black people would go to the hospital, black doctors would go to the hospitals, black doctors would practice in the hospital, and it always comes down to white people not wanting to compete with black people, not wanting to mix with black people, and wanting to keep the illusion that white people are better than black people, so we have to separate from them.
Nearly 100.
So now I went ahead and brought this up. The very definition of this idiom: cut off your nose to spite your face. A needlessly self-destructive action undertaken out of anger or revenge. Flat out racism. The saying warns against lashing out at someone else in a way that ultimately causes more harm to yourself. Most so-called civilized societies around the world have universal health care. The vast majority of which are them folks. When you look at Sweden, Norway, nations like that. Wow. These people are, this is why they got to be eliminated off the face of the earth. Obadiah. There's no reasoning with a people like this. There's no getting along, no matter how many hundreds of years of that is just in them. It's in their spirit. This is that ancient hatred between Esau, his hatred against Jacob. It tells you that in Genesis 27 chapter, starting at verse 38 and 41. He says what about, as I'm paraphrasing, as soon as his father Jacob dies, what? He's going to kill his brother Jacob. As far as, I think I said Jacob twice. It's when Isaac dies, he's going to kill Jacob. Salaki. Let's go ahead and get it. Because a lot of these people, what they'll do, and it's again, it's a spiritual thing. They'll always say, well, Jacob stole the blessing. Well, they might even see the birthright, which in that case, they don't know what the hell they're talking about, because in chapter 25 of Genesis, it tells you that Esau sold his birthright. Okay? And in this one, all right, in around verse 11 and 12, Rebecca, because Jacob brought out the fact that, well, if I do this, what you ask as far as with preparing the meal that, the venison for his father, taking the place of Esau, that he would bring a curse on him. And his mother, Rebecca, said, no, let that fall on me. All right, which it didn't. So that means this was okay. And you have to know that what further proves that is what's going on now. This devil has been so bent on trying to destroy us in order to get the blessing. He doesn't realize that all the while, all right, he's been the steward. He's had the power. And instead of doing the right thing, what has he been concentrating and doing? Nothing but wickedness. So he's proving the Most High's point. All right. And the reason is he's never going to get that birthright back, because he's not worthy of it. All right, let's see. Verse 38, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. All right. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live. And doesn't he? And shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke off from thy neck. And when did that happen? He ran and hid, all right, for centuries, all right, because you got to remember, King David was on that ass. Him and Joab, and then after him, Solomon. He had 40 years of peace. All right, but there was always that between the two, the distrust by Jacob of his brother Esau, and then their hatred for us, the things they did in Deuteronomy and Numbers, and I mean all the wicked shit. All right. So that brotherly bond was broken a long time ago. All right. So let's go back and finish that out. 41. Here's the point. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. So this has been ongoing since. All right.
100% of the reason why the United States is the only country in the world that doesn't define healthcare as a right is because of racism. He published a book called Race, Tendencies, and Traits of the American Negro.
Racism is expensive.
How many times do I have to say this? Racism is a detriment to you white folks, poor white folks especially. Because of racism, you poor white folks can't even get good health care. Because they thought if they could deny health care to black people that we would have been eradicated a long time ago. But hey, we still here. and they have not changed the rules. How crazy is that? Even with Social Security, you have to pay 20% because of racism. We keep telling you, black people keep telling you, it is not us that makes your life suck. It is those racist politicians and their racist legislation that they think that's going to harm us, but harms you at the same time. And they don't care if it harms you.
Now, that is what the average white person doesn't get. They're not important either. The hierarchy is important. And who is at the top of the hierarchy? The
Bacon's
rich people,
Rebellion.
the billionaires, and the millionaires. And then it just trickles on down. But guess what? But now some black people are part of that class. And white people who've been poor all the time are still poor, and they still don't have access to good medical care, good education, a good social environment. They are suffering too. But they are suffering because they have bought into the idea of the hierarchy. They think that they're in the hierarchy, and maybe they might be in the hierarchy, but it's not doing them a bit of good.
They don't give a shit. And then you continue to vote against your own interests. All because a bunch of rich white people told y'all to hate black people because black people are doing stuff to you as a whole. And we're not, because we don't control shit. We don't control the healthcare system. We don't control Social Security. We don't control your wages. We don't
Which goes back to this. Oh, man. Keeps going back. Wow. You people are real idiots. Oh, man. Here it is. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you. There you go. But your blind hatred of us, yeah.
Control shit. But they continue to tell you that it's us. So you turn your focus on us and harass the shit out of us for no fucking reason. When we have no power to affect your life as a whole community. Pay attention.
America's racial hierarchy isn't just about skin color. It's about proximity to whiteness, socially, politically, and economically.
And that's how they also, all right, they prop up these buffer groups, these immigrants that come over here, all right? Proximity to whiteness, so-called. And they come over here and they jump on the white supremacist bandwagon against us. See how this shit works? Now you're seeing all kinds of hatred towards us with the immigrants because we no longer are their shield against these folks.
Closer a group is perceived to be to whiteness, the higher they sit in the hierarchy. That's why some immigrant groups are encouraged to assimilate upward towards whiteness. Some are racialized downward towards blackness. Some are placed in the middle, which is the buffer zone, to maintain stability. Now, we black people are the foundation. That's what these immigrant groups don't understand, because the American hierarchy is like,
the thing with foundation is it's the bottom. It's the bottom. That's why I hate that term. Foundational. Black. America. Think about it.
it's like two hands clasped together. It's like two pancakes together. And black people are always the foundation. You can call it the bottom or you can call it the foundation. And there is no in between. Now, immigrants think there's in between. So white people use them because they buy into it. But there is no hierarchy in America except white and black. And so, they use these people and then they start putting deportation and ICE starts raining. It's awful. I'm going to do a video probably in the next few days about some of the things that they are doing to immigrant groups to discourage them from coming to America. And if they're here and they don't have some type of legal standing, they're not going to be able to get anything and they're not going to be able to work. And that's the price that they are paying for thinking somehow that they were in the hierarchy. And as far as black Americans are concerned, America doesn't just oppress black Americans, America extracts from black Americans, and they always have. America extracts our culture, our creativity, our language, our style, our music, our athleticism, our political movements, our social commentary. Black Americans are the cultural engine of the country. And because of that, every group, even those who don't respect us, benefit from our output. This is why Black Americans are constantly visible but rarely protected. We are the cultural engine in this country. Black Americans didn't build the hierarchy, we inherited it. We fight it, we expose it, we survive it, we reshape it, and we push it forward. Every civil rights victory in this country, every protection, every freedom, every right came from Black American struggle. And these Black immigrants come here, particularly these Black immigrants, but all of them, they come here thinking that America was always the way that it is now. It was not. It was not. America is the way it is because of Black Americans. But America has a way of showing them that they don't know what they're talking about. Because come a certain time, every group that benefits from those rights finds out that they are standing on the shoulders of Black Americans. And that's not ego, that's history. So America's racial hierarchy is real. It's old, it's intentional, and it still shapes the country today. But Black Americans are not powerless inside it. We are the foundation, we are the culture, we are the movement, and we are the blueprint. And as Black Americans, it is our job to make sure that this hierarchy, as it is now, does not survive. Okay, y'all, thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about the video and have a good day.
All right, there you go. Uh, Short, sweet, and to the point. Yeah. And this bitch is falling apart. Quickly, I might add. We're at the point now, this is July, so you're really going to start seeing the effects of what's going on over there as a result of the Strait of Hormuz being blocked because these idiots, however they were convinced, and firing the first shot on behalf of, the pretenders over there in the Holy Land. Yeah, so you Americans, you Edomites, the ones that are still here, the ones that haven't taken off and gone to New Zealand or wherever else the hell they went and built bunkers. Guess what? Yeah, things gonna get really bad. And the thing you have to know about these Edomites, them folks, it doesn't take much being Jake just step back. All right, and then you can tell with these latest events, it's like they're trying to get us out in the streets. I said this last video. Don't fall for it. They'll start turning on themselves, and you're seeing it. All right, this is the way it's always been. You probably didn't see it because they always have a stupid ass Jake that they can make, a reference to when some of their own get in trouble. You see it. Whenever you see these people get in trouble that show their true nature, and as far as PDF files and things of that nature. You always got a Jake and they can put in the news for doing some stupid shit. That's how the press works. All right, they're in on it. All about protecting that so-called white male. All right. So that's it. Once again, it says Black Americans and America's hierarchy. But this shit is crumbling. All right, we're doing what we're doing, and as a result, keeping it spiritual, not falling into the carnality trap. That's Second Corinthians, chapter 10, verses 4 and 5. We're out here, we're bringing down these strongholds, these, lies. All right, Hosea 6 and 5 about the prophets, and how we're chopping them up. All right, hewing them. All right, and we're just using words. We're using the scriptures. All right. Again, not going the carnal route. All right. So with that, once again, I hope whoever views this has been edified. That's what we do here at Great Millstone. Filter everything through the scriptures, especially now so you know what time that you are in. All right. And again, all roads lead to the MOTB. You got to see it at this point. All right. So until the next video, hey, shalom.